It's 3rd down and 4. Iowa 4 yards away from a touchdown with 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Everybody waiting in anticipation. Hawkeyes up the line of scrimmage as Hilgenberg over the ball. Terry Moran, Areta Matakowicz has come in to direct things. Single wing goes to the right. Here's Matakowicz. The pitch out play goes this time. A pass into the end zone is complete. It's an Iowa touchdown.
Some things just seem to belong together. Salt and Pepper, Laurel and Hardy, and WHO Radio and the Iowa Hawkeyes. For half a century, every football win, loss, or tie of the Hawks has been on WHO Radio. And through the good years of the 50s and the not-so-good years of the 60s and 70s, the voice of the Hawks has always been the same.
Jim Zabel. Jim Zabel. We love you, Jim Zabel. Zabel, 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 Zabel.
Since 1949, when Jim Zabel became sports director at WHO Radio, he's seen every Hawkeye snap from center, including the Iowa glory years of the late 50s. Coaching those Rose Bowl-bound teams was Coach Forest Evashevski. Now Evie works Mike's side with Jim, acting as his analyst or color man, a job he's done for the last 3 seasons. For Jim, working with Evie means more than just having another color man.
Evie and I have a lot of fun together. We razz each other on the air, and he sometimes talks about the friction that exists between my hand and a dollar bill passing out of it. But seriously, I think Evie is the best color man in the country because I think he is the most astute football mind in the country.
And Evie also has his own impressions of his co-worker.
What do you remember when that young, handsome, dashing Jim Zabel came to interview you?
Well, he said he hoped I did a good job and cooperated with him because if things went according to the script, he would someday be president.
Jim was not WHO's first play-by-play man, and even though he's probably associated with the Hawkeyes more than any other man, he's not WHO's most famous play-by-play man. That honor belongs to Ronald Reagan, who moved into other things since leaving WHO.
Because if you didn't,
so it should come as no surprise that when the president and Jim got together recently, they talked about broadcasting and the Hawkeyes.
To me, I think that sports announcing really is thinking out loud. This was what I conceived for myself sitting up in that high school stand. If you are watching a football game, well, you identify who's got the ball. You look down there, and that's number 20. Well, that's Dick Crane, and he's going out of the right. No, he's cutting back in over his tackle, and so I thought all you do is think out loud.
1st and 10 on their 16-yard line. At quarterback is Brian Clark. Here's Clark.
Play-by-play is a complicated production involving the talents of many more people than just the announcer and the color man. The broadcast booths at Kinnick Stadium are very small, and in WHO's case, they are very crowded. In addition to Jim and Evie, there are 2 producers, 2 spotters, and an engineer. The producers are responsible for the coordination of the program, inserting commercials, collecting scores, and lining up the halftime with interviews and statistics.
21, Ted Jones flanks to the near side, eye in the backfield. Flank to the far side is Otis Grant. Here's Hoda driving up, probably, I think, got the first down. Goes over the
With over 100 players entering the game, it's next to impossible for anybody to know every number and every position. That's why Jim uses a pair of spotters, one for offense and one for defense. They point out to him on a chart who carried the ball and who's made the tackle. They also keep tabs on who's in the game and who's out.
Broke in, he made a mistake, he cut to his
This game against Michigan State is the last game of a Cinderella season for the Hawks. With their first winning season in over 20 years at hand, it seems certain that the Hawkeyes were heading to some bowl somewhere.
He's rushing, he passes, and fumbles the football. Let's see, they're going to call it a completed pass. I believe they are. The ball is squirting around, goes out of bounds, and I think it's going to be Iowa's football. It is.
As the afternoon continued, it became obvious that this was not just another Hawkeye football game. And when word came from Ann Arbor that Ohio State had beaten Michigan, that sent Hawk fans into a frenzy.
If you could have told somebody back in August, Evie, that this team would beat Nebraska, hold them to 7 points, would beat UCLA, hold them to 7, would beat Michigan, hold them to 7.
Yeah, this might be a...
The turn of events had not lost any of its impact in the WHO broadcast booth. As the seconds ticked off the game clock, everybody in the press box knew that after 20 years, Iowa was going back to the Rose Bowl.
We have a rose being passed around in our booth, and whoever gave this to us, we want to thank them very much. I'm going to take a sniff of that right now.
Put it in your mouth, Jim, and do the tango.
The last tango in Iowa City.
It was the end of an amazing season, and for those in the booth who had been a part of broadcasting Iowa football for the last 50 years, it meant even more than going to a Rose Bowl.
Probably the same thing holds true today. When we got the invitation to go to the Rose Bowl, we sewed it up here against Ohio State. In the dressing room, after the elation and the exuberance died down, one of the kids said, "I hope we've heard the last of the Iron Men." And I think today, if they walk off this field victorious, I think that's going to go through their mind. We've heard enough of the Evie era, and let's start in an era of our own, and I hope that comes through this afternoon.